Joe, you started without me.
Yeah, I've got to get on with it, Adam.
I love it. What are we making?
We're making an Adirondack chair.
A deck chair.
Adirondack chair, deck chair. Yep, that's what we're making.
Yeah, beautiful. What stage are we up to?
Well, I've cut all the pieces that we need. I'm going to clean up the edges with the plane. If you can take that sharper edge off.
Beautiful.
Okay.
So what are we using here? What timber?
So this is pallet timber, heat-treated pallet timber that we source from Beaker Cheese and also from a fellow who demolishes pallets for a double glazed window company.
We're using the timber from 2 standard sized timber pallets. Each piece is about 1,165 millimetres long and 95 millimetres wide. Is this a project that you do in your classes?
Yep, this is actually one of our flagship projects.
Oh, I love it.
We've run one of these a month. It is really, really popular.
That's fantastic. Well, imagine after a long day at work, you come home, you get to sit in your own chair that you made. There's nothing better. That's why you do woodwork. So, Joe, the best thing about repetitive building, which you've obviously built a lot of these chairs, is that you get to figure out the best way to actually do it and change your techniques as you go. So I'm excited to share those tips. So what is next in this build?
All right. I like to prep everything and have it ready before assembly, so then we can just focus on assembly.
Yep.
What we're going to do now is do the cutting of the curves. I'll get you to jigsaw those.
Okay.
For our backs there.
Backs, yep.
And I'm going to be doing cutting the angle off our rails, which is the part of it that creates the...
Creates that. So that way, so when our seat's sitting down, it's not just on the point.
Yep.
You're going to have it so it sits nice and flat.
That's right. So Adam, there's no wastage in this. We're even going to use this offcut for something I'll show you later.
Yes, I love it. Joe, we're ready for the assembly.
We are indeed.
Yeah. So what are we starting on, the main frame?
Yep, we'll get the main frame ready. We're going to put this on and we've got a piece in the middle and then we're going to assemble the back together.
Beautiful. So this is where I'll be sitting at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Let's start pre-drilling.
All right.
So onto the backrest. So it's important to note that this is actually going to be the back of our chair. So we want to make sure that the good face is facing down.
Exactly. And then what we're going to do is put 3 mil spaces.
And then hold them together. We're just using these timbers, one down the bottom and one at the top there.
Yep, 2 cleats along there.
And that gives you hitting fixings as well,
That's
doesn't
right.
it? Yeah.
That's right. Makes it really neat and tidy.
Joe, this is the exciting part. The two come together.
Definitely. This looks like a chair.
Just some beautiful screws to hold it together. And with the backrest on, we can see what space we're left with. So now it's a matter of just laying our slats out, isn't it?
Exactly. Pallet timber can come various different sizes, so it's good if we just lay them out here and now we can space them out evenly by eye.
Yeah, that's all right.
Joe, we've got ourselves a seat. Now we just need to make it stand upright like this.
We do, and I've got a handy little trick for keeping that in place while we get our legs on. With a clamp. Never have too many clamps.
You can't. So the angles that you cut earlier, we're making sure that it's sitting flat on them. You've temporarily propped it.
Exactly. And the angle that we kept, we've dressed that up. And
nice.
It is going to be a little bracket that fits on our legs to support our armrest that fits across there. I have got a piece of timber that we're going to put on that holds that up. But what we have to do is have a mark for that that's the same height up as this, which is actually a vertical measurement up from whatever it's sitting on here.
That's it. Joe, I've got to say, I absolutely love this chair. It looks fantastic.
I know, it's simple, it's easy to construct.
Yeah.
It's great.
And now we just need to decorate it. What colour?
2 shades of purple, of course.
Of course. And I'll tell you what, the best thing is I'm hopeless at painting. You've got one brush, so I'll just leave it to you.
Okay, fair enough.
What a workshop.
I know, how lucky.
Yeah, explain to me what's going on here.
Well, we teach women and kids here woodwork skills and how to have a lot of fun.
So where does your love of woodwork come from?
I have DIY parents. They renovated everything all the time. And so I've been a carpenter for 30 years, over 30 years, and then a licensed builder. And then this seemed like a great follow-up.
Now, Joe, as a fellow carpenter, I've got to say, I know the joy that carpentry brings. Is that one of the reasons why you started running these classes?
Absolutely. The women, the kids, everyone's just hungry for those skills.
Yeah.
And that, you know, that confidence that they get from being able to do something for themselves.
Yep, and then we come back out. That's it.
Are these some of the projects that you do?
This is probably a large selection of the projects that we do with the kids, so bird feeders, all sorts of games, and then other projects that women make, crossover shelves, things like that.
Yep.
Stools, this is our main beginner project with the women.
Yep.
The kids, however, always start usually with a sword.
That's cool.
Because everyone needs a sword. They're making Nordic swords, and at the moment they're doing some planing.
Yeah, how cute are those little hand planes they've
They're
got?
so cool, aren't they? I know.
Yeah. So what are some of the techniques that they learn from this make?
They do some sawing with our Japanese
pull
saws,
pull
saws.
Yep.
So they learn straight sawing, and then we use a coping saw for
Doing curves as well.
curve sawing, which takes a bit of care and a bit of skill. And then we have the rasping that they do.
So, Joe, we all know that if you don't use tools correctly, they can be dangerous. So how do you tackle that with the kids?
Look, to tell you the truth, we maybe go through a pack of Band-Aids a year. Like, we really have very, very few accidents.
And that's proof that you're a good teacher.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Our tools are really sharp, and that helps with safety. They're easier to use.
Hello, Elsa. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'll tell you what, I'm loving your sword. This is some good sanding that you're doing. What do you like about woodwork?
Well, I like how you can just go into it and then you're into it so you feel like you can't stop for ages.
You're addicted to it, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes, it's addicting. Hello, Nia, how are you?
Good.
What part are you up to on this sword build?
The little bit.
Oh, the bit that goes across. I'll tell you what, I'm liking you've done a good job here. Is there anything that you've done from learning in this course that you've gone home and you've decided to build something?
Yeah, I built a cubby house.
A cubby house?
Yeah.
There's 4 posts and it's concreted into the ground. It's got a climbing wall on one side.
A climbing wall?
Yeah. So you can get onto the roof.
Oh, this cubby sounds epic. Hello. With the children finished their swords, they're off to fight the dragon. Now it's the women's turn to learn about tools with Joe.
Welcome to Two Sheds, everyone. This is what we're going to be making, which is a boot puller. Nearly everything you need to know about building you can learn out of this one little project. So I'm going to do a cut on the very edge of my line and then just sort of create a little saddle that the saw can kind of rest in. That's it.
Hey, Jennifer, how's the make going?
It's going really well, thanks.
Yeah? Does working with, obviously trying different tools, I'm guessing, working in this workshop, does it give you a bit more confidence to maybe tackle something if you did come across something
Yeah,
that
look,
needed fixing?
I am considering we do need a bit of timber replacing on the back deck.
Yeah.
I reckon I'd be happy to give that a go.
I mean, if you were making a deck, your screws to be in line, otherwise you're looking at it.
Joe, this is fantastic.
Is that the comfiest chair you've ever sat in?
It is the comfiest chair, and the best part is this purple, it just blends into your workshop
That's
perfectly.
why we call it Two Sheds Purple.
Yes, now I have to thank you for showing everyone this great build, but also I need to thank you for letting us into your workshop and creating the workshop. It's amazing what you do. It's great to see the children on the tools, the women on the tools, and we need more people doing that, so keep up the good work.
We definitely do.
You're an amazing woman. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I were a working dog, like a border collie, kelpie or cattle dog, I'd feel right at home rounding up livestock on a farm. But these days, most working breeds in Australia live in suburbia. But for such smart and energetic dogs, being cooped up in a small backyard can often result in behavioural issues, like uncontrolled barking and hard to live with dogs. We're about to meet a bloke in the hinterland area behind the Sunshine Coast, who's taking working dogs from a city environment and allowing them to do what they've been bred to do, work, and work with sheep. John.
Hello, Dr.
Great to meet you.
Harry.
Now, I've heard a lot about what you do with city dogs that come out here. So what goes on?
Well, I just cut city dogs and I put them on the sheep.
Now, where do you get up to all this stuff that I've read about?
Right here behind us.
In there?
Yes, in there. I've got a class just about to start. So you're quite welcome to come and join us.
I can?
Yes.
Well, you
See
lead the
what
way,
we
my
do.
friend. I'd love to see what
Come
goes
here,
on.
come.
Should be good.
So girl. Good girl, Ash. Good girl. Yeah. Shh. Ash, my girl. Good girl.
That's why that pole, it's just a noodle from a swimming pool, is just so important. It's an extension of your arm. You couldn't do that on your own.
Shh. Good girl. Keep going. Come on. Ash, my
This is
girl.
a So this is like a 12 or 14-year-old child. They need to do the job of an adult. So it takes time, it takes maturity, it takes practice, it takes experience, it takes patience, it takes a lot of things.
Now you walk up this way towards these sheep. Good girl. Come. Get off. That's my girl. Good girl. Get
John
off.
teaches his herding
Good girl.
lessons
Back,
in a
back,
purpose-built undercover arena. Classes are small, calm and controlled. It's all about getting these city dogs to do what they were bred to do, by tapping into their instincts.
If you've ever worked horses, and you ever seen them with a horse in a round yard, and they've got tethered and they're going around like this, that's called lunging.
Okay.
And they're pointing certain places on that horse to make it do things. I'm doing the same thing with your dog. When you sit in exam at school, do you go home and have a nap afterwards?
Yeah.
Right, because you're doing all the thinking.
Yeah.
Your concentration's a lot higher. Her concentration's a lot higher.
Yeah.
So she tires a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Hannah, you've got a border collie
Yes.
by the name of Amy,
Yeah.
who's 7 years old.
Yeah.
Why are you here?
She is a city dog and she has a lot of energy.
So what does she get up to in the backyard that drives you mad?
She digs holes, she runs around a lot, she barks, whines.
Okay. Now, you could have taken her down to the local park, you know, and chucked a ball or a frisbee around or something like that. Why did you choose to come here? Because this is very different.
Usually when we take her to there, she gets quite tired, but she regains that energy very quickly after. Yeah.
What do you think it's done for her?
I think she's used her brain.
Right.
So she had to think about things.
Yes, that's exactly right. This is the smartest breed of dog in the world. Have you learned how to control your dog in a different way?
Yep.
How do you think she went with
I
the
think
sheep?
she went really well.
Come on, come on, come on. Take him on. Come on. Shh, shh. That's it, girl. Come on. Shh, shh, shh. That's it. You're starting to win, Missy. You're starting to win.
Your thoughts and my thoughts about handling dogs and what you ask dogs to do.
Yes.
And we ask dogs to do it because they want to do it.
They want to do it. In my training that I do here, it's all about patience to bring that instinct out in the dog. We don't teach the dog how to do this. This is instinctive. That's a girl, Bobby.
And it's
Bobby,
not just
Bobby,
dogs
come
and their
on.
owners
Back,
who
back,
John
back.
is helping to educate
That's
in
a
the
girl,
ways
Bobby.
of working animals.
Go on, Bobby.
Kirsty, you were a dog trainer and still are a dog trainer.
Yes.
Before you ever came here to help John. What have you learnt about teaching herding techniques as opposed to ordinary dog obedience stuff?
It's just such a different beast because the reinforcement for the dog here is the work. So the actual task itself is the reinforcer for the dog. We're really tapping into like innate behaviour here, things the dog already knows how to do. John has a saying that all dogs are speaking to you just in the same language, just in a slightly different accent.
Yeah.
So it's just about appreciating each dog as an individual and looking for their little tells and cues.
Let's go this way. Hear me?
Now it's time for John's favourite part of the day. When the work's all done, it's time for some real fun. Just watch these dogs go.
Go swim. Go swim.
And they're in the water.
Go swim.
Dogs and water, what a great mixture. And the best way to cool off after a hard day's work. I mean, look at them out here. Look, I mean, you know, black and white torpedoes, you know, flying around all over the dam. They love it, don't they?
They do.
That's what it's all about. This is the classic rounding up dog doing what they would normally do with sheep with a tennis ball. Every dog smiling.
They do smile.
Why? They've had a great day and so have I.
Thank you.
But I gotta go, my friend. Look after yourself. Right? See you, mate.
See ya.
Cheers.
Hear me?
No, you can't come home with me. I got enough of my own.
All of us as parents have one common problem. That is, it's sometimes difficult to get your kids to eat, well, something. They're all different, so their preferences are different as well. But I think I've got the solution. Rather than force them to eat it, you want to combine it with something they really do love. So my kids, they don't really go for fish, which means I pair it up with a sticky Chinese glaze. So to start off with, you're going to need a couple of onions. You can slice them, dice them, chop them. It really doesn't matter to me, and it shouldn't matter to you at all. Right, once they're done, just toss them with a little bit of sesame oil. This dish is Cantonese, which means there's not too much chilli in it. In fact, there's none. It's all about the aromatic flavours. Ginger, love it. Cut it into really fine batons because you want that to soften about the same rate as the onions. Once that's done, you can pop them in with the onions. Along with 2 cinnamon sticks and some star anise. We are going to need some vegetable matter. All right, I should start by apologising to my son. He reckons eggplant is the devil's food. Some people feel the same way. You could use sweet potato instead. Either way, you want to dice it up because we're going to cook this before the fish. Oh, I'll show you in a minute. For our sticky Chinese glaze, we're using 2 tablespoons of light soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce, and 1/4 cup of black bean sauce. If you reckon that's good, you're going to love what happens next. We sweeten it up with a little bit of honey, guaranteed to keep the kids happy. A good squeeze or 2, but then for balance, because you don't want it to be too sweet, zest and juice of a couple of limes. So that is our prep done, which means we can start to think about cooking it. First up will be the onions, and we need to cook them down gently, but until they're really well softened. Once the onions are softened, just set them aside. Next, in the same pot, you fry the eggplant. And yes, we set the eggplant aside as well. And then it's time for the fish. And this is why we needed to make sure we got a lovely wide pan. You will need a decent splash of oil for the fish. Otherwise, it could stick. Yeah, that's about enough there. And we put it in skin side down because ideally you want it to get a little bit of a crunchy there. How long is it going to take to cook? Depends a little bit. I mean, it will go through to well done because we're adding the sauce, but it depends on the thickness. These are good thick fillets, so I'd be saying about 8 to 10 minutes in total. What we're going to do is put our onions and eggplant back over the top. And then we'll pour on the sauce. Now, at this point, because it's got all that lovely honey and sweet sauces in there, we do need to make sure we turn the heat down to low. That way it won't burn. You are going to want some kind of greens with this. I guess normally I'd go like snow peas or green beans or peas. They're all a good sell, but given I'm already taunting my children with eggplant, Chinese cabbage, why not? You just shred it nice and finely and scatter it over the top. Fit the lid, it will wilt in no time, which means dinner is just about ready to serve. I reckon that looks absolutely magic. For something so easy, it's kind of glamorous, isn't it? You've got all the veggies you need, you've got a beautiful piece of fish, the right size too, and a little extra sauce. Maybe just one more little bit. After all, this is the magic. If you're looking for a super simple one-pot dinner that the whole family can get into, no matter what they're fussy about, this sticky Chinese-style salmon, well, I'm digging in.
The definition of fear. Standing behind a microphone, looking at a room full of people about to sing. It is the stuff of nightmares for me. But those who choose to actually do this willingly, wouldn't it be wonderful to have somebody in your corner with years, decades even, of international experience? Someone like the superstar that is Harry Connick Jr.
We are literally traveling everywhere, trying to find the next Australian Idol. Can I say you're a badass on TV? I would bet money that you're gonna be in the top 5. You have got to be kidding me right now.
Right meow. So we obviously see the gorgeous, shiny show on TV. We never get to see this part of it all.
This is cool.
This is serious.
I wish everybody could see this. It's actually really nice. Like, as far as dressing rooms go and backstage areas go, this is pretty cool. Like, my dressing room's here, and Megan's there, and Amy, and Kyle, and Scott, and Ricky, and it's a really nice place.
Do you ever remember being that person up there for the first time, having someone critique?
I remember when I was doing American Idol, when I first started, many people would write or comment and say, oh, you're so harsh, you're so mean, and I'm thinking...
You're authentic and
well,
honest.
I was thinking about my teachers, like, you haven't seen me. I could have taken you out of that and put another singer in there. I think you need to have more control over the arrangement and more focus on how to let yourself come through. Hey, y'all need to save your energy. You're gonna be doing that all night. If I'm gonna critique you, it's not like, oh, I don't like the way you look, I thought it was terrible. It's, here's what I think you can do to improve this particular area that I'm critiquing. And this is the first time actually, not that you have to dance around the stage all the time, but I just saw a little bit more of a relaxed guy, you know, and that was nice for me to see. I thought it was a good performance.
As we get to that pointy end of it, though, have there been any particular highlights that have stood out for you?
There's been a lot of highlights, but I'm gonna reserve comment on that just until the finale's over. If you keep bringing that every week, you're gonna strike fear into the hearts of everybody else in the competition because that's hard to follow. Nice job.
Thank you so much.
I'll talk about one of my highlights then. It takes all the pressure off you, and that was your amazing homage to Amy Shark.
Sorry I'm late, guys.
So... Oh my. So what did your family say when you went back and you're like, guess what I did at work today?
Yeah, well, my family, they've seen me do some pretty wacky things, and so I was trying to think of a way I can mess with Amy. I went into your closet and I tried on all of your stuff and nothing fit.
Nothing fit.
So this was the best
That's
option.
it. I'm gonna start singing jazz.
Yes. Are we cute together?
You're so cute. Where's my phone, Mom?
Oh my God.
Wow, it always blows my mind just how much goes on behind the scenes.
It really is a lot. They pulled out all the stops, man. I mean, it's crazy high-level production. The audience is bigger than the States.
I was going to ask you about our audiences compared to the audience in the States.
The one thing that's different is when they boo, it's way more intense. I want to see your artistry, and I heard a guy, seems like a nice guy, basically imitating Bruno Mars.
Harry loves spending time in Australia so much. This time, he's brought his family along for the ride.
I've been here so many times, and I love being welcomed here, but I feel like it's kind of a second home. It's just the people, the entire way of life is something that I always look forward to coming back and being a part of.
Which means it was a very easy decision to bring your beautiful wife and your 3 daughters?
It was an easy decision for me, and especially easy for them. They absolutely adore this place.
Your latest album, Alone with My Faith, I mean, that was in totally different circumstances. It was in the middle of the COVID pandemic, and I know COVID affected lots of people close to you catastrophically. I mean, what was that whole experience like?
There's people out there that are doing things that are crucial for us to stay alive, and that's who the album Alone with My Faith was for, because we didn't know what was coming. And some of us had to be on the front lines, and some of us had to sit back and pray that those people, the healthcare workers and the people that would pick up our garbage and our teachers, would have the strength to make it through that. And I count my blessings every day for those folks, and I'm thinking, like, sometimes faith is all you have to get through. Not everybody has it, and I guess some people don't need it, but for me, that's what really got me through.
And is it right that Georgia actually did the artwork for that album and did the music videos?
All 3 of our children are very much artistic, whether it's acting or designing clothes, or in Georgia's case, she's studying to be a director of photography. She's a brilliant young woman. That goes for my other 2 daughters too, but it's amazing to be able to work with her. Like, it's really, really cool.
Coming up, Harry shares one of his favourite recipes from home.
Man, look at these things, they're beautiful.
A New Orleans-style shrimp boil.
Look at that, they're already looking good, right?
Yep.
Amazing.
One of my favourite looks for a bedroom is to create a calming sanctuary, but this room with its cream walls is feeling a little bit outdated and lacklustre. So I'm going to show you just how you can transform and add some personality to your sleep space simply by adding a splash of colour. The first thing I need to do is start clearing it out.
Even when nothing's alright, I got you by my side. I know it'll be alright. I know it'll be alright.
There are actually a few great pieces of furniture in this room, so don't worry, I'm not getting rid of them. I'm going to give them an update and use them in the finished room. What's been holding it back in here is the layout. When you're painting, prep work is an essential part of the process to get the best end result. And it might seem like a job you don't really feel like doing, or it might seem daunting, but for a room like this, to do the walls and all the trims, it would really only take the weekend. So I'm going to get started on this skirting board. For the undercoat, you'll notice that I started on the inside corner and then I'm running my brush all the way back into the corner, and what that does is avoid any brush strokes. And it doesn't matter if I get any paint on the wall because I'm painting it a different colour later. A lot of people find choosing the right paint colour completely overwhelming. I get it, but as a designer, I like to take cues from the space I'm in, and here, this window is stunning with this beautiful stained glass. 2 very on-trend colours, pink and green. If you don't have any elements in your room that you can find inspiration in, paint brochures are a great place to have a look for some colours that will work together every time. Because I want the room to feel calm and serene, I've chosen a pale green called Grass Sands Half Strength, and look at that, true to colour it is. This colour looked almost white in the tin, but now that it's on the wall, you can really see that lovely green coming through. And I'm using Dulux Wash and Wear because it will make this room look as though it's been freshly painted for years and years to come, because it's so good at withstanding wear and tear. Because this is an older home, the walls are a little bit uneven, so I've chosen a matte paint which will hide some of those imperfections. And then in future, if any scuffs or marks appear, it's just going to be a matter of taking a wet cloth and wiping them off. The walls are now done, and it only took 2 coats. So now I'm going to get on to finishing the skirting boards, and I'm using a semi-gloss in vivid white because it's really going to highlight all this beautiful detail in the timber. This is the same light that was in here before. I've just given it an update with some white paint, and a few of the shades were missing, so I'm replacing them with these really pretty pink fabric ones, and they just sit on top of the globe. So if you have a light at home like this, you could easily update the look of yours too. It is so much more modern and bright in here, and now I want to play with furniture placement to create some balance. So I'm going to enhance the symmetry of this wall and use the 2 chest of drawers that were in here before, either side of the fireplace. I'm also moving the bed to the other wall, which will allow the beautiful stained glass window to really shine and let lots more light in.
Go down to the streets and go down to the shores. Let's get together. What are you waiting for?
I bet you thought I was done with paint in this room, but I want to be a little bit bolder. So I'm going to use the same colour as the walls, but in full strength, up on the ceiling, and that is going to create a real wow factor. Managed to give this bedroom a fresh new look without spending a ton of money on furniture or art, because most of these things were in the original room. But you'll remember it looked very cramped and tired. Now I'm sure you can imagine yourself relaxing, snoozing away, looking up at this tranquil green ceiling. It is so restful. But whether you prefer the bright white ceiling or the calming green, this bedroom has the best of both worlds.
So we had a lot of fun earlier in the show catching up with Harry Connick Jr behind the scenes at Australian Idol. The big final just 2 days away, but to be honest, I've been more excited about this because everyone knows so much about his life. What they don't know is that you were a gun in the kitchen.
I love to cook. My wife is a great cook. She's from Texas. I'm from Louisiana, so she cooks a lot of Texas things. I cook a lot of Louisiana things, and even though they're right next door, they're very, very different from a food perspective.
So what have you got in store for us today, then?
Okay, so we're gonna do what we call a shrimp boil, a traditional shrimp boil. I know y'all call them prawns, right? But it's the same thing. I mean, these are absolutely beautiful. What I like to do is start with the seasoning.
Okay.
We use a seasoning called Zatarans. This is Old Bay, and I think it's pretty similar. And I'm not big on putting a whole, nah, you don't really need to. And so I'm gonna take a couple lemons here, and we're gonna cut them in half. And throw those in. We'll just put 2 of those in there. And then we're gonna put some celery in.
Yep.
We'll dump all that in there, or most of it anyway.
Okay, got garlic there for you.
Great,
Ready to go.
so I'm just gonna cut the pod right in half.
Love
and put
it.
the whole thing in just like that.
No fuss cooking at its best.
It's easy, you know. And then we're gonna take some of these onions and cut them in half. What we're gonna do is let that boil for about 10 minutes.
While that's actually coming to a boil, why don't you tell me how New Orleans has shaped you, not only for the cooking, obviously, but your music?
New Orleans is full of incredible, rich diversity of food influence, music influence, and for me, a person who grew up, you know, loving to play music, I got a chance to hear such amazing artists, such diverse artists. It's different from everywhere else in the States, I think. It's got its own thing.
Is it right that you were publicly performing at 5 years of age?
That's the first time I ever performed in public. My dad was running for the office of district attorney, and they had a piano set up at the opening of his campaign headquarters, and I played the national anthem, and I remember like saying, this is fun. Like I play these little notes and people start smiling, like how hard can it be?
Obviously, Australia's had a lot of natural disasters in the last couple of years,
Terrible.
between bushfires and floods, and you experienced with Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. But you also work with Habitat for Humanity, and you help create a musician's village.
I try to do what I can. I felt compelled to help the people of my town. After the hurricane, I mean, the city was literally 80% underwater. I mean, it was a nightmare. So I said to myself, what can I do? I'm a musician. Maybe we can work with some people who really know how to build houses, Habitat for Humanity.
Yep.
We ended up building 80 homes. 80% of those homes are lived in by musicians and their families because we wanted to bring the musicians back because everybody got displaced. We have this incredible community, and in the center, Joe, is called the Ellis Marsalis Center for Music, which is this community center, incredible place for these young kids to learn the history of the music, the next generation to come along and take it forward. So I just feel really lucky to be a part of that.
There have been whispers that there potentially could be a tour in the offings, is that correct?
Let me put it this way, and I'm telling you the truth. I am literally the last person to know because I really am. Like, they don't tell me anything, but I heard my office discussing that, and if that's the case, like, maybe I just won't go home. Maybe I'll just stay down here and wait for the tour because, like, we're all obsessed with it. I mean, we really are. You probably hear that a lot. Like, people come, oh, I love Australia.
Oh, I think Australia's beautiful. I totally love it when people.
Ridiculous.
I love it when people feel like that about Australia.
We are obsessed with it. I'm gonna throw in some of this. So you can use smoked sausage or that's chorizo, right?
Yeah.
This is the last bit. So I'm gonna put the corn in because, would you pass me that corn, Joe?
Sure.
Thank you so much. So this corn I put in last because it doesn't take that long to cook and it really soaks up a lot of those spices.
Yum.
So we'll put a few of those in there. And then now it's time for the shrimp or the prawns. This pot is a little small, so we're not gonna, wow, look at these things, they're beautiful. Amazing. I mean, these are, woo, that's great. So that's gonna go on for like 2 minutes,
Yep.
and then let me just dunk these in here a little bit, make sure they're, woo, man, look at that. They're
That
already
looks
looking
great.
good, right?
Yep.
Amazing.
See the colour in them.
I'm
Beautiful.
very hungry, very, very hungry now.
Well, the best thing is we're about to have a taste of this with your gorgeous daughters.
I can't wait. They love seafood. So.
Excellent.
All right. Girls, I'd like you to meet an incredible woman. Joe, this is Georgia.
Hello, Georgia.
Our oldest daughter, and that's Charlotte, our youngest daughter.
Nice to meet you.
So your dad said that he and your mum obviously go out and they've been hitting the restaurant scene hard. What about you two? If you had to describe your favourite Australian cuisine, what would it be?
I don't even know. Everything is so good. Like, it's hard to pick one. Like,
fresh.
Yeah, it's so fresh.
Yeah.
The seafood is absurd. So I'm really excited to try this.
Your dad spent the last couple of months judging everyone on screen, so we're going to reverse it tonight so you two can do the honours and judge him. I'm sure.
My heart started racing. It's going to make me go easier on the contestants because it's hard being judged.
Oh, no, I want them to judge you. I want them to
Okay.
think about it. You can, like, literally go for it, girls. You can,
Okay.
We're all allowed to have
Let's
a
try
taste.
these shrimp.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't even know which one to take. It's so
Yum.
beautiful. This looks
It
so
is.
Doesn't it look
really
great?
is.
Got
You
all
know
the
what's
flavour?
different about these?
What?
They're sweeter than the shrimp we have.
Yeah. Tiger prawns are
really,
really
sweet.
sweet.
Falling behind, Georgia. Come
Get
on.
some of those onions.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
That's really good. Yum.
That's really good. That's really good.
Really? Mm-hmm. All right. Am I better than Mom?
I don't think I'm allowed to say that.
Gotta tell that. Ooh, that's
like
really good. Dad, touchdown.
Thank you. Thank
Hey.
you. Wow, I
Do you
got a
know what?
touchdown.
You made everyone wait so long for yours and you just ripped it straight out.
I
I
know.
love it.
No need to wait this time.
It's been 3 long years since Better Homes and Gardens has been to Western Australia, and I'm excited to be back because one of my all-time favourite gardens is right here. It is, of course, Kings Park and Botanic Gardens, right in the centre of Perth. And no matter what time of year you come, there's always something to look at. So I'm excited to see what's new and what's in bloom. Everywhere you look in Kings Park, you'll notice incredible garden beds filled with amazing native plants. Take this one, for example. This is Kings Park Federation Flame, and it was actually voted Australia's best kangaroo paw. And it is not hard to see why. Now, we all know that natives like good draining soil, but how do you achieve that at home? Well, here, they've mounded the soil up, so it gives the plants exactly what they need. Kings Park is known for its endemic plant collection, and starting your tour in the Row Garden is the best spot to see plants that are situated between Perth and Geraldton. And one of the things that really took my eye is this amazing eucalyptus, Eucalyptus macrocarpa. Now, it's got amazing silver foliage. It's also got the largest flower of any eucalypt. I love as the caps pop off, you see these amazing red flowers. Now, this isn't a very good garden plant, so if you want to enjoy it, you've got to come to Kings Park. I'm the tinder, you're the spark of all the broken pieces that I leave. The park is not only known for its amazing plant collection, it also is home to 80 different types of birds, and one of the best places to see that is the Hakea and Grevillea garden. Now, they're very similar, Hakea and Grevilleas, and you can tell them because they've got incredibly spiky leaves, which means they're adapted to drought conditions. This one is Georgiana, and it's absolutely covered in bees, and it looks spectacular. It's a good idea to plant something like this near a veggie patch because it's going to bring in pollinators and increase your harvest. There is another one around here that I haven't quite seen, but I can smell. I think it's over the back there. Its common name is Old Smelly Socks. So if you want something that stinks, you can either plant that in your garden, or you're welcome to come to my house and clean up after my kids.
Every little moment that we have, honey, let's savor it, 'cause we might never get it back. It don't have to be perfect.
So Digby, with a name like Groans, you're always destined to work at a Botanic Gardens, right?
That's actually true, and my mother's maiden name was Plant, so I really had no choice.
Had no choice. So what's your role here at Kings Park?
I'm the senior plant breeder here. So my role is to manage the breeding programs that we have.
Yes.
And they include Anaxanthus, the kangaroo paws, include Grevillea, and our famous wax flowers as well.
Yeah, right. What an interesting role. And I can spot a pretty spectacular looking kangaroo paw down here. Which one's this one?
This one's Masquerade. So this is the first blue kangaroo paw that's come on the market, and has really gone a bit viral.
Yes.
It's got a lot of attention, and rightly so, amazing colours.
Yeah, what's really nice to see here in this garden bed is the use of native plants and how you can put them together in combinations to give you this amazing look. Most people think native plants should be separated out and given lots of space, and they kind of just plant one here and there, but when you do something like this, it really shows off the beauty of them, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we plant areas like this really to showcase how people can do that in their own gardens. So, you know, they can come to this area and other areas in Kings Park and get some great ideas about what they can do at home.
So do you have a favourite plant here that you like to grow in the gardens?
Well, my current favourite's the blue Anaxanthus, just because it's so different. But I do have a garden bed of Kings Park Grevilleas.
Okay.
And what I like about that is that they provide a habitat and a food source for urban fauna.
Wow.
And they're really good for that.
So how many of the plants in this garden bed are bred here at Kings Park?
Oh, there's a few. We've put the kangaroo paws, and also a lot of our Grevilleas are planted through here as well, really to showcase to people about how they look and how they can perform in their gardens.
Yeah.
Feels so darn good to be around you, like I struck gold when I found you. My light shone.
Wow, Digby, it's almost like my kids have got fluoro textures out and they've been colouring in flowers. It's incredible in here.
Yeah, look, we've pretty much got every colour in the rainbow.
Yeah.
In these kangaroo paws. And it's amazing to be in here. It's one of my favourite places.
So they come from the lab and then come in here to get grown on? Is that what happens?
Yeah, they do. The ones that come out of the lab come in here to get grown on, and then we use them for breeding.
Right.
Or further assessment.
It's so amazing to think that a lot of the kangaroo paws we see in landscape use have started life here.
Absolutely.
Well, Digby, it's been absolutely fascinating to see how you've taken these iconic Australian plants and completely flipped them on their heads to have these amazing colours. Thank you for showing me around.
Oh, look, thanks for coming along, and it's been a great day. And I invite all your viewers to come and see the real thing. So come to Western Australia, come and see our fantastic flora. We welcome everyone.
Well, I haven't seen enough of it yet, so I'm going to head off and have another look through the park, if that's all right with you.
Absolutely,
All
go
right.
for it.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
See you next time.
See ya.
This is Federation Bridge, and it's a pretty spectacular view out to the river. I could almost tell you it's quite nice looking up at the canopy as well, and what I'm supposed to tell you is it looks great over the side looking down over the plants, but because I'm such a wuss and it's moving, I'm not going to have a look. But I recommend coming and checking it out.
I love it when I spend lots of time in the garden doing hard work and then suddenly everything bursts into bloom and all of that hard work pays off. And when you get a beautiful display like these roses and salvias, you just never want to say goodbye to those flowers, do you? So I've got a bunch of tips to keep your flowers going longer and stronger, and I'm going to show you how to preserve them to keep those memories all year long. One of the best ways to prolong flowering is to deadhead your blooms. So by cutting back those spent flower heads, you're encouraging more flowers to appear. Now with roses, don't just get in there and cut the head off like this. Go much further down the stem. I always say, cut them like you're taking a long-stemmed rose for the vase. So by cutting above a leaf, I've cut above, for want of a better word, a growth point. So that will stimulate lots of new growth, which will eventually lead to more flowers. Of course, the other way to promote flowers is to feed your plants and provide them with all the nutrients they need. And it's a great idea to feed them coming into the flowering season. So for roses, I like to feed them in about early spring when all that new growth starts to come through. But for repeat flowering roses, you can feed them again in late summer to promote a magnificent autumn display. When it comes to getting the most out of your flowers, the old adage, right plant, right place is a really good one. So what you're seeing here is a lot of sun lovers. So, you know, a few penstemons, salvias, gowras. Now, if I was to put these sun lovers in the shade, all I would get was lankier growth and fewer flowers. So best to put them in the right spot. And of course, when you get a striking display like this, all you want to do is preserve those flowers. Now, I remember as a kid pressing flowers in one of those old flower pressing kits or even between the pages of a heavy book. But did you know that these days there's a modern way to do it? It takes under 10 minutes. I'll show you how. When you're cutting flowers for pressing, try to harvest them early in the morning after the dew is dried, because that's when the flowers are looking their freshest and best. I also find that it's often the flowers that have a single layer of petals that press the best. And of course, don't cut them after rain, because wet flowers, they just don't press well. Now remember I said we could do this really quickly? Well, it all starts with a microwave. The first flower that I'm going to press is this beautiful salvia here. If you're working with a flower like this that has a whirl of blooms all the way round, then I find it helps to cut the flowers all the way down one side of that stem just to help lay it flat. Now just get your hands on some paper towel. Now try to choose one that's either plain or just lightly embossed, because you don't want that pattern to transfer onto the flowers. And then pop another double folded piece of paper towel on top. I've just got a casserole dish here that's microwave proof. It's nice and heavy. We're going to plonk it on top and we're going to put it all into the microwave. Now this is not an exact science, but you do want your microwave on low. And I'm going to start with 30 seconds, then we'll open it up, see what's happened and see if it needs more time. To grab a tea towel, because that casserole dish as you go can get quite hot. All right, let's see what's happening. It's coming along beautifully, and you can see there's moisture on the towel, which is a really good sign because it means that flour is drying out. but it's still a little bit floppy, so I think it needs a little bit more time. You can either move it to a drier part on the towel or actually replace the paper towel completely and pop it in again. All right, the big reveal. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah, that's perfect. So can you see how it's looking dry, but it's also nice and rigid? So that's a sign that it's ready to go. Now, I would just put it underneath a book like this, just to keep it nice and flat until you're ready to do some crafting. But now we've got a few more flowers to do. And don't forget, foliage and other things like seed heads can often press really well too. Once you've got the knack of it, what better way to preserve those memories of your garden than by putting the pressed flowers into frames? So I'm just putting together a beautiful little trio here of Nigella, or Love in the Mist. In the centre, I've got some Silene, or it's sometimes called Bladder Campion. And on the edge, I'm going to put a little bit of Forget-Me-Not. Now, you might find that those flowers sit there just beautifully in place once you put the glass on. But if they don't, you can always stick them down with a tiny bit of glue. Oh, look at that. Doesn't that look gorgeous? And of course, the other thing you can do with your pressed flowers is to add them to things like thank you cards or greeting cards, just to add that personalised touch. Pressing flowers in the microwave is such a fun and easy project. It's not only a great way to create a unique one-off gift, but it's a wonderful way to preserve any one moment in your garden. So now you can enjoy your garden year-round, not just when the flowers are in bloom.
We're all about the one-pot cooking because it's the easiest way to get great results with a minimum of fuss. So I want to show you how to make a brilliant and incredibly easy dessert. It's called a store-bought mud cake. Nah, just kidding. We're going to turn this into a peanut butter and jam steamed cheesecake. We actually need just a plain cake without the icing. These really convenient store-bought ones are brilliant, but you will need to scrape it off. Otherwise, you can use a packet, your own recipe. It doesn't matter too much. We're just going to crumble all of this into a bowl, and then, look, I'll transfer a bit over half of it and mix that with some crunchy peanut butter, and that's what's going to hold it together. This is going to be the base of our cheesecake. You know, normally you'd have like crushed biscuits or some sort of short pastry. No. This could be a dessert all on its own. Okay, we'll give it a stir and make sure you press it down really firmly. Yeah, it's nice and smooth. Like I said, use a bit of force because the more you press this in, the better it's going to hold. At this point, it is important to set it aside. You know, with your peanut butter, when it's warmed up, it's runny. When it cools down, it's nice and firm. And we want that to solidify. So while it's sitting, we'll make the filling. We'll pop 4 eggs and 375 of cream cheese into a food processor and just pulse it up a bit. At this stage, all we're trying to do is break up the cream cheese. It doesn't need to be all fine just yet. That'll happen. Next, you've got to have some vanilla in this. It really does make a huge difference. Plus sour cream. Okay, when you put sour cream into a cheesecake, it doesn't just make it silky smooth, it gives it kind of a custardy texture as well. But it doesn't like to set, and that's why we've got the extra eggs, particularly when you steam it. that is beautiful. Now, you can make this as sweet as you like. I'm going to go for about 150, 175 grams of caster sugar. Plus, because I'm doing peanut butter and jam, you can put some in the middle as well. This is peanut butter powder. You'll find it in the health food aisle of your supermarket. About 2 tablespoons should do the trick. And yes, we're going to puree it again. Right. That's what I'm looking for. Sensational. But before we pour that over the base, we're actually going to crumble the rest of the cake over there, along with some raspberry jam. And then we pour this over very carefully. We're just going to load this in here, and there's a bit of a tight fit, which is actually better. You get a really good result. Then just put the lid on and let it cook on a medium sort of a heat, not more than that, for about an hour. You need to check on it probably in the back end of that hour every now and then. It will end up firm to touch right across. Don't take it out before then, otherwise it might not be fully set. Oh, that's great. You can see it's lovely and firm all the way across. There's no wobble anymore, which means it's ready to come out. Look, you will need to set it aside to cool down completely, or you can even refrigerate it. It is up to you. That is a little piece of magic. The jam turns into ripples because it rises during the cooking. And you've got these chunks of chocolate cake. Remember, we scattered those over, but we still need to decorate it. I'm thinking, you know, a bit of whipped cream, some raspberries. And from there, it's kind of up to you. Do you want some peanuts, some peanut butter powder? Do you want some chocolate? You do you. As for me, there's one little trick I really do want to do, which is to finish it with some salty sweet salt. The great thing about this is not just how it tastes, but the fact that all the proceeds are raising money for mental health awareness and treatment. It's a fantastic cause. It's a simple finish, but hey, I'm a simple guy. And it does look beautiful. It is a perfect cheesecake.